Okay, let's start over. 5 ways. Hi, this is Margaret. Eternal shift, new day, new life. Hi, Saturday, December the 14th. Almost 2 weeks to Christmas. Almost, not quite, but a week and a half. So we're going to talk about 5 ways to identify a malicious person. To identify a malicious person, look out for signs like consistent negativity towards others, my mother, my ex-husband, spreading rumors or gossip, no, not much. Taking pleasure in causing harm, yeah, my ex. Manipulating situations to benefit themselves, my ex. Exhibiting excessive jealousy or envy when others succeed, my ex. Often accompanied by a subtle, undermining tone or behavior, my ex. I lived with it for 38 years. Okay, here are 5 indicators, 5 key indicators of a malicious person. Sabotaging behavior. Yep. Undermining, actively trying to undermine others' success, projects, or relationships by spreading misinformation, taking credit for their work, or creating obstacles. Yeah, he did that with the kids all the time. You know, I'd get upset, get the hiccups, at this time of year because none of our kids would visit for Christmas. I mean, half the time we didn't hear from him at Christmas. Keith, we rarely, if ever, heard from at Christmas. He hated his father so much because of how his father treated his wife, his first wife. I'm not saying she was perfect, but let me tell you what. When they first got together, Martin treated her fine, just as if she was his daughter. But then again, he didn't know how to treat a daughter either, because my daughter didn't stay around us because she didn't care for him. Because he did something to her when she was a young child. But she won't tell me what it was. I think I know what it was. But I can't get it confirmed. But anyway, so that's why Keith and Tara didn't. Bo, he hated his dad because he kept beating on him when he was growing up. I can't blame him. I cannot blame a single one of our children for not being around. I can't. I should have stopped the father figure from doing what he was doing to them. I should have stopped it. But I couldn't because he was doing it to me too. Passive-aggressive communication. Using indirect, subtle comments, actions to express negativity or criticism. Often leaving the recipient feeling confused and blamed. Constantly confused. Constantly blamed for whatever was going wrong in the family. It was always my fault. Not his, mine. Okay, I dealt with it. Excessive negativity. Constantly focusing on the negative aspects of situations or people, often with a critical or judgmental attitude. What he would do would be focus on negative things and try to turn it into a positive, such as the negative thing of why our kids wouldn't visit for Christmas. He always thought it was their other family members keeping them away from us. But it wasn't. Keith didn't like his father. Tara didn't like her stepfather. She hated him. Bo hated his father. So all three of the kids had such negative influences of his that they could not stand to be around him. I couldn't either at the end. Gossip and slander, yeah, no, he didn't do much of that. Other than maybe political, a little bit. I don't know. In exploiting vulnerabilities, absolutely. Taking advantage of others' weaknesses and insecurities to manipulate them for personal gain. And that's what he did to me. What did he gain? I don't know. Other than the ability to make his wife do something she didn't want to do. Yeah. He did that a lot. Why do you think he prostituted me? That was for his personal gain. And it wasn't for money for him. It was to show that he could do it. And he did. What is a toxic person? Lord have mercy. What isn't a toxic person? If you know someone who's difficult and causes a lot of conflict in your life, you may be dealing with a toxic person. These people, and I know my kids kept saying that their father was toxic, and I kept denying it. These people can create stress, unpleasantness for you and others, not to mention emotional and physical pain. Absolutely. A toxic person is anyone whose behavior upsets you, adds negativity to your life. It may just be their personality, but many times people who are toxic become that way because of their upbringing and life experiences. So he must have had a really bad upbringing. They don't know healthy ways to deal with their own stress, so they behave in ways that cause harm to other people. Yeah, that's true. Can you diagnose a toxic person? Toxicity in people isn't considered a mental disorder, but there could be underlying psychological problems that cause someone to act in toxic ways, including personality disorder. These include narcissistic. Yep, he is. So these include narcissistic, borderline, histrionic, and antisocial personality disorders, bipolar, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's what I have, post-traumatic stress disorder. Warning signs for a toxic person. Excuse me. So here are some signs to watch out for that can indicate you're dealing with a toxic person. You feel like you're being manipulated. You're constantly confused by the person's behavior. You feel like you deserve an apology that never comes. You always have to defend yourself to this person. Always defending myself. You never feel fully comfortable around them. You feel bad about yourself in their presence. If you experience these feelings around someone in your life, consider whether you need to take steps to change the relationship. Signs of a toxic person. Beyond the way you feel when you're around them, there are certain personality traits that are common in toxic people. Inconsistent. Part of being human is having ups and downs, good as well as bad times. But a toxic person is almost never consistent. Their behavior is erratic. Excuse me. They don't follow through on their commitments or promises. You never know what they're going to do next or where you stand with them. Such inconsistency can make it very hard to be in a relationship with a toxic person because you're constantly walking on eggshells. That is not fun. They always need attention. Have you noticed that the person always needs something from you? Whether it's constant phone calls, texts, or showing up at your door. They're always seeking emotional support, but they're not necessarily supporting you in return. They take all that you have without giving much back. This can be associated with a narcissistic personality disorder. Absolutely. They can't be happy for you. Jealousy and competitiveness flow from self-centeredness and low self-esteem. If your friend or partner always needs to one-up you or put you down, that's toxic. There's always drama. Ever notice how drama seems to follow some people? It's likely not a coincidence. Toxic people thrive on dramatic situations. They inflame emotions, create conflict. They love stirring the pot to see what happens next. It's the opposite of the kind of behavior that builds stable, healthy relationships. They don't respect your boundaries. If you've been clear with someone time and again about your needs, and they just can't respect that, they're toxic. Healthy relationships are based on trust and the ability to respect boundaries. Toxic people just can't do that. They manipulate others to get what they want. Do you feel taken advantage of, manipulated? I did. Toxic people manipulate those around them to get what they want. Absolutely. This can mean lying, bending the truth, exaggerating, or leaving out information to cause you to take a certain action or have a certain opinion of them. They'll do whatever it takes, even if it means hurting people. They don't accept responsibility. If you call out a toxic person for an insult they delivered, expect to be told that you're too sensitive. They may act outraged that you could think badly of them or blame you for their behavior. Gaslighting, where someone tries to make you doubt your perceptions and memories. It's a common tactic of toxic people. Signs of a toxic parent. As a child, you don't know any other family dynamic besides your own. So it may not be until adulthood that you realize you grew up with dysfunction. And even then, because you love your parents, you may have trouble seeing them for the toxic people they are. These are some red flags that you have a toxic parent. Let's see if I can see any of this as my parents. They're abusive. Physically, verbally, emotionally. No, I don't recall that. They try to control you, whether by criticism, guilt trips, or other manipulative behavior. Yeah, some of that. Self-centered, use you to fill their emotional needs. Unpredictable and lash out. They may deny that traumatic events in your childhood actually happened or accuse you of exaggerating. They refuse to take responsibility for problems in your relationship. They may have been a little bit toxic. And I know we were toxic. The impact of toxic parenting can follow you through life, influencing your adult relationships, putting you at higher risk for psychological issues such as mood disorders and substance abuse. Yeah, I dealt with a lot of that. Not always easy to deal with. How to deal with a toxic person. It's one thing to be able to recognize a toxic person, but it's another to be able to do something about it. And here are a few strategies to try. I wish that I had known some of these strategies beforehand. I would have maybe used some of them and gotten rid of my toxicity. Confront them. Yeah, I know what happens when you confront If you notice toxic behaviors, don't stay silent and hope the person will change, because they won't. Call them out on lies and inconsistencies. Tell them you don't appreciate their behavior. This shows them that you're paying attention and gives them a chance to explain themselves or apologize. But sometimes confronting toxic people can be difficult to do because they don't see themselves as toxic. They don't see themselves as we see them. We see them being not the greatest people. Okay, so my sourdough bread's just about ready. So I got to go do some stretching. So with that said, we'll end it here for today. And we'll start up again tomorrow on part 2 of 5 ways to identify a malicious person. Peace, love to you all. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye.